Okay, so my main renal vein is gonna drain into what?
IVC.
The IVC, okay? Because the IVC is the last, it is a true, it goes into the right atrium of the heart and goes back and gets reoxygenated and transfers back over and goes into the aorta, okay? Again, segmental is gonna branch out. Interlobar is between the pyramids. Arcuates on top of the pyramids called the base. And then the, I don't know what that is. Okay. 3 layers of the bladder. The serosa, muscle, and the mucosa. The ureters go into the bladder, posterior, inferior bladder, an area called the trigon. Okay? The area called the trigon. Now, renal. You can have a column of Bertine. It looks like a mass. Don't measure it if it's the same echogenicity. See how like this, where it looks like it is hyperechoic? Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's hyperechoic to the cortex.
Mm-hmm.
Change your hand position. Show that this is cortex. It's not a mass. So when ultrasound hits an organ, it depends on the attenuation. How much of that sound wave is going to be used by that organ. Okay? So by the time it got to the column of Bertine, because of my positioning of my transducer on the skin of the patient and how it's hitting the kidney, I made it look like a mass. So we have to change our position so that way we do not cause a mass. We want to show that this is the same echogenicity. If you turned this in, the doctor's going to say it's a mass because of the echogenicity. A column of Bertine should have the same echogenicity of the cortex. Okay? It's up to you to change your, what we call the line of fire. We've got to hit that organ at a different angle to make this the same echogenicity. Everybody understand that?
Yeah, but the echogenicity, the mass is hypo or hyper?
You never know.
No, here. You said-
Here, this column of Bertine, it's not a mass.
Yeah,
It's a mass effect.
yeah. I
Okay?
mean, yeah.
It's hyperechoic to the cortex.
Where's the cortex?
This is all cortex. I'm at mid right now, mid kidney, because I see cortex all the way around.
So
Okay.
this is.
I don't see the hilum here.
Mm.
See this? I'm not mid kidney. I don't see cortex all the way around. See it? Yes or no? Raise your hands if you see it.
Where is
Only see 2 people see it? 3 people see it?
what?
Okay.
The cortex?
No. Here's my cortex.
Yes.
I lose my cortex. I pick it up right back here
Mhm.
and I see cortex. This is the hilum. Who sees that? Raise your hand.
The hilum. Yeah.
Okay? The hilum is where the vessels, the lymph nodes, the ureters, all of that is in the hilum. Okay? Because every organ has an entry point. It's got to receive blood. It's got to have lymph go through it because the lymph is what stabilizes our body. Okay? So, if I was at mid, I'm at medial here. At medial, I would do it with and without color. Mid, I see cortex all the way around it. So I'm gonna measure it from here to here. I'm gonna always do the longest dimension first. Then I'm gonna do my height from here to here. I'm probably gonna measure it from here to here because I can show that the cortex is widest at this point. As long as this measurement and this measurement are 90 degrees, it doesn't matter where you measure it. As long as this measurement and this measurement are 90 degrees. Okay, so at my height, I'm gonna take my widest dimension, my longest dimension. It's always length, height, and then width. This is wrong. Whoever drew this, it's wrong. Okay? This is sagittal, and this is transverse. Okay?
Maybe this is discipline.
Oh, no, I think that one was drawn because they were trying to show us where to put them.
The markers, yeah. Okay?
So you're trying to.
Sagittal always has 2 dimensions. Transverse always has 1 dimension. In your book, I haven't noticed it yet, but at some facilities, that's the way it is. That they'll have transverse 2 dimensions and sagittal 1 dimension. This is the proper way. But this is sagittal and this is transverse. Okay? This is a dromedary hump. Okay? So if I'm doing my height, I'm gonna measure it from here to here. If I'm measuring my cortex, I'm gonna measure it from here to here, and I'm gonna either measure it from here to here or here to here. Because this is a congenital anomaly. It's not abnormal, it's just a normal congenital way that some people are born. Okay,
So-
hereditary. So what?
This kidney is more effective than the regular.
Oh, I wouldn't have the slightest idea. I wouldn't have the slightest idea. Because you still have, what's in the cortex that makes the urine?
The nephron.
The what?
Nephron.
Lymph nodes?
Nephron.
The nephrons, yeah, the nephrons. Are there more nephrons in this area? I have no idea. But it makes sense that it would, right? But is it? I don't know. That might be a good research question. Okay?
Yeah, so the difference, no location for the difference between the cortex and medulla.
Correct. This is called the medulla,
Yeah.
but we always say the pelvis. Okay? This is the cortex. Okay? Is this a good one to measure?
For measurement.
No. Mm-mm. Do you see the superior pole?
Yeah.
No, I don't see the superior pole.
Yeah.
Okay? So I can't measure this kidney. Okay? Junctional parenchymal defect. It's where we have a bite taken out of the cortex. Okay? It's not a real bite, but it looks like a little beak has just taken a bite out of it. Okay? This is a normal variant. It happens during embryology. Fetal ovulation. This also happens during embryology. Okay? You can see that the kidney is kind of scalloped. That's called fetal ovulation. It's not an abnormality. It's just something that happens during embryology. An extrarenal pelvis. Those are really, really difficult for us to distinguish. Is it a dilated ureter? Is it an extrarenal pelvis? Does it connect up to the pyramids or to the calyces? We're gonna measure it, we're gonna do it with and without color. Okay? All we can say is there's an anechoic structure inside the renal pelvis.
From what and what do you measure?
Like I would measure it, it's taller than it is wide, so I'd measure it from here to here and from here to here.
Oh, okay.
Okay? A little FYI. Never measure anything unless you can turn on it in transverse and it's still there. If it disappears, it's not real. Okay? Horseshoe kidney.
Extra kidney.
I can't measure this because I'm losing my inferior poles. Anterior, posterior, superior, inferior. I'm losing my inferior pole. I could be lazy and measure it from here to here, but I'm gonna miss my horseshoe kidney. You're gonna have to go midline over the aorta, and if you see this kidney connecting to this kidney anterior to the aorta, you have a horseshoe kidney. You're gonna see these pretty regularly. Don't miss it, okay? If the patient has had a previous exam, such as a CT, or an MRI, or an ultrasound, be sure you read those exams because you don't wanna miss this. If you catch this, then that builds the confidence of the radiologist a little bit more. Yes.
So you're saying two kidneys are attached in here?
Yes.
Also, how do they come together from left to right?
They're just connected. Mhm.
I think they have long distance, so.
Yeah. Because they start here, but they're connected here. Okay? They're connected at the inferior poles. The only way that we can make that diagnosis is this image right here. That's the only way. Huh? Transverse. I'm gonna go transverse aorta to see if I see tissue anterior to the aorta. I can follow this to this kidney. I can follow this to this kidney. Okay? And that we're not gonna talk about. Supernumerary is that we have more than 2 kidneys. Extra kidney. Supernumerary. We have more than 2 kidneys.
Does anything? That extra kidney does anything?
Does the extra kidney do anything? Yeah, it's functional. Why? It has blood vessels to it, so it's functioning. Okay?
But then the same shape.
Probably not. They're usually bean shaped, and not only that, so let me draw you a picture. Okay, so here's my spine. Okay, so here's my aorta. Okay, this is my sacrum. Okay, this is my sacrum. Okay? The aorta is deeper at the chest than it is at the belly button. Didn't y'all learn that with the depth? Whether you're looking at it here or you're looking at it here, you have to change the depth. Okay? So, here's my kidney. It's deeper superiorly than it is inferiorly. Not only that, it sits in my body like this. It's C-shaped and it's deeper superiorly than it is inferiorly. And not only that, it's shaped like a bean. Everybody's shape is a bean, but you have to follow that bean. Okay? So when you take imaging, just cortex, hilum, just cortex. Superior, mid, inferior. When you measure it, it's this imaginary line, and that's your mid, with and without measurements, with and without color. This is superior, just cortex. This is inferior, just cortex. Okay? This is mid, with, without measurements. With, without color.
Is that medical coding?
Correct. Okay, y'all did get that in medical terminology? They don't teach that anymore? Okay. Like this, when you pick up a prescription, what does that mean?
After.
After.
Wow.
Okay, y'all better learn.
Everybody ready for the exam?
لا والله